Good morning, dear learners. Welcome to the contact-based sessions for examination for the subject Economics, Didactics, and Learner Support, ACS/ECOD11. I'm Peneafo Hangula, moderator for Economics, Didactics, and Learner Support. I will be standing in for Mr. Mwela Shanika, who is unfortunately not able to join you or present to you today. These sessions are for the Advanced Certificate in Secondary Education. Economics, Didactics is more on the teaching skills within a teaching environment as you in your journey to train as a teacher for economics. This subject gives a deeper appreciation of the challenges faced by the government, and we aim to empower you as an educator that you need or are expected to provide professional knowledge should you be in a position to be given this task to teach this subject. This subject deals largely with the understanding the teaching techniques that educators need to have in order to deliver an effective and lasting learning experience amongst learners. Various researchers have come up with numerous approaches and tactics designed to make both classroom and off-site learning achieve its stated objective. Effective learning participation can be a sign that learners understand the subject matter, and continuous class attendance can be a confirmation that the class is in the right direction or is going in the right direction. Effective teaching delivery. Educators or you as a future educator have a responsibility to ensure effective teaching methodologies in order to ensure an effective learning environment. It is the responsibility of the educator to make learners understand the message through the use of various techniques, among them body language, and the use of practical examples within a classroom. This can be also practical in such a way that you give them assignment on real situations that are happening on a daily basis. The learning atmosphere also needs to be adapted to suit the age groups of the learners. For example, color graphics for preschool is designed to entice and to enlist the attention of kids age 6 or below. As age groups rise to graded education levels, more real-life adaptations are added and more focus is put on learner participation rates. Here you could also look into teacher responsibilities within a classroom, e.g. also how would you encourage learners to participate in class who are not looking interested within a class as you are teaching. There are features of an effective explanation in class. Explanations is a major component of delivering an effective learning experience and will include, amongst others, the following: keeping explanations as simple as possible, use of appropriate tone and voice, maintaining constant eye contact with the learners, use of concrete examples, constantly summarizing key points, monitoring learners' response to gauge the understanding or measure the understanding of what has been taught to them, asking learners questions for them to summarize key facts. When the basis of you being able to teach economics didactics is for you to understand demand and supply in an economy. So economics can be loosely defined as how economic agents go about to satisfy their needs and wants with the limited sources or resources within an economy. Demand is measured by the amount of goods and services consumers are willing and able to buy at a given price or point. Supply is what suppliers are willing to supply more on a good or service at a higher price. So please the understand the definitions behind these two concepts, and if you understand these concepts you will not be going wrong in explaining it to a learner or a student of yours. Welfare responsibility of the government. Well, over governments have the responsibility to ensure that needs and wants of its population are catered for. The overriding role of government is in this regard will be as follows: ensure people living conditions are improved, ensure poverty is eradicated, provide employment opportunities for the youth, provide adequate infrastructure, provide an enabling economic environment for the population. Economic growth and the environment. Modern economics has been cited as a major contributor to myriad of economic disasters such as earthquakes, poor rainfall patterns, excessive droughts. Consequently, there has been a growth in environmental activism with environmental pressures or groups which are advocating for sustainable economic activities. Sustainable economic group requires industry to avoid or reduce the damage to the environment in their pursuit for their economic gain. We would use concepts as sustainability report, global reporting initiatives, or the triple bottom reporting that has assumed significance to rate or study the impact of economic growth on the environment. Gross domestic product and government spending. Gross domestic product is an important measure of the country's level of productivity. It is abbreviated by GDP and it measures the country's output by the nations of its countries. A measure of a country's economic or sustainability rate is normally GDP as well. On the other hand, we have gross national product, which measures the output by the nations of a country, regardless of where they are in the world. Every year or half yearly, or even still quarterly, or monthly, some governments will make plans for their future spendings and will regularly allocate resources according to such plans. GDP, national government, and corporate performance. Some institutions, particularly private for-profit entities, regularly measure and report their performance to the national press. This is done so that shareholders and other investors can gauge company performance in order to continue investing in such organizations or whether they should sell their shares within such organizations. The stock exchange enables companies to list their shares so that those that want to buy or sell can easily do so at their liberty. The advantage of listing shares on a stock exchange is to enable such shares to be bought or sold on a daily basis. For those who don't have information on stock exchange, please read the stock exchange. Read about our stock exchange. You could read about some of the companies that are involved on our stock exchange and just study how they are doing for your own personal gain or more depth understanding on the topic. It is because of vehicles such as stock exchange that some companies have become so successful as to earn themselves household names. Successful companies have constantly enjoyed above average performance, with their shares outperforming their peers on the stock exchange. It is for the above reason that most successful companies attract higher caliber employees and also constantly pay a higher dividend to their shareholders. An important topic as well within this subject is money. All the countries in the world use money as a means of exchange nowadays. In the olden days, we used to use the barter system, but we have outgrown to use money instead. In Namibia, the official currency is the Namibian dollar. The Namibian dollar is used along the South African rand as the official accepted currency. However, Namibia does not exist in isolation. This means Namibia carries international trade together with other countries in the world or of the world. Therefore, there are other currencies that can be bought from the official monetary and financial systems to facilitate international trade. There are other major currencies which could be the US, the United States dollar, mostly commonly referred to as the US dollar. We have the British pound, we have the euro, the Chinese yuan. Those are amongst the major currencies that are used for international transactions. International trade will entail the buying and selling of currencies, and this takes place in a market that we call a forex market. Benefits of money. Benefits of using money in an economic system. Before the introduction of money, international trade or local trade, we have done so using a system called barter trade. Barter trading involved the exchange of goods and services in kind, and this meant trading was not going to be easy. Again, distance would have made it impossible to transport a live sheep or cattle to as far as a place such as China or Australia in such a way. When you are dealing with goods, it would have been a very difficult situation to trade with others in the world. Think of cross-world diseases that will be transferred with such animals as well. So there were so many risks and barriers that were aligned along to this trading system. Or what if a buyer could reject them when they already arrive in China? We have different categories of money within our economic systems. We have the M1, which is the most liquid form of cash, comprising of notes and coins and the check that we used on an everyday basis. We have M2, which comprises of M1 plus short-term deposits such as 32-day deposits or 32 notice accounts that we commonly refer them to as nowadays. We have M3, broad money. It comprises of M1 plus M2, but also includes large deposits such as those spending for more than 1 year, which could be bonds, repurchase agreements. Hence, I would urge you to understand and be able to differentiate between these three types of categories of money. The business environment. A business environment can either be competitive, in which case there is a full market information and every company in that case will be a price taker. On the other hand, the environment will be characterized with a single supplier or producer, which we would call a monopoly, where still the business will have both elements of perfect competition and monopoly as in a mixed economy. The Namibian Stock Exchange. The purpose of a Namibian stock exchange is it gives a platform for the buying and selling of the different company shares within the country. This is done by public companies. Private companies can still use the stock exchange for raising capital, but only through what is called over-the-counter trades, which we abbreviate by OTCs. Only public companies can raise capital on the stock exchange through buying and selling of shares directly to the members of the public. So please make sure you understand as well who is allowed to trade on the stock exchange, who is not, and on what conditions they are allowed to trade or sell their products on the Namibian Stock Exchange. As a teacher, you encounter common possible barriers to effective learning when you are teaching in class. The first one is a language level. Teaching and learning for many learners takes place through a language which is not their first language, so it could extend as a barrier as some students would struggle to understand even the basic concepts of you explaining that subject to them. Observation skills. Some students, due to problems with perception and comprehension, are unable to learn effectively. Listening skills is another barrier as well, where we say that effective learning is one of the most important factors in classroom communication. Attention to deficit problems is where learners have a problem on focusing for long periods. They can easily be distracted, have different understanding directions, and are often confused about what to do. So you should be able to overcome these barriers and come up with solutions on how best to motivate students to pay more attention and concentrate in class. How as you as a future economics teacher can promote attention skills in class. Most classroom management issues are resolved with active and engaging lesson planning. It can be a challenge to keep learners focused on what they are supposed to be learning or listening to. The following are some strategies that you can use to improve the attention of the group you are trying to teach. Use demonstrations if possible. Let learners participate and give them actual demonstrations on a certain topic. If you are perhaps maybe teaching them on the types of money, you can perhaps try to look for an example of each type of money, like what has an example of M1, have an example of M2, have an example of M3 as well. Another strategy is making use of visual media such as charts, posters, PowerPoint, and DVDs. Varying the level of your speaking voice and tone of the voice and use sound as another way of getting the attention of your learners. Do not speak in such a way that your voice comes out as harsh or shouting to the student. Make sure that the content of your lesson is well planned and meaningful, otherwise learners will lose focus and get bored. Create a friendly and fun atmosphere within the classroom. Make use of group work to crew all learners into a learning experience. Ask intriguing questions that challenges their thinking capacity. Give clear instructions that learners should follow when you assign homework, project, or assignment to them. Clarify the meaning of words so that learners do not confuse and stop to pay attention. Make use of active learning activities during the lesson. This will turn your lesson into an interactive experience for learners, as they will be willing to ask or focus more when you encourage this type of learning in your classroom. Use shared reading, where you assign reading parts of a topic to each student, or perhaps some students, so that they both have that sense of adding some value to that lesson. Watch out for learners with difficulties such as ADHD. We have come to the end of our presentation for learner didactics, so I'll just talk about the extra tips that I think you need when you are studying for the examination. Please go through your study guide, go through your course syllabus. I'm sure you have been supplied with your course syllabus on what is expected of you to be able to know by the end of this subject. Go through any extra materials that the study guide has outlined to you, or as a benefit of you to have. If you do not understand certain concepts, please engage with other students who are doing this subject elsewhere, so that you depthen your understanding and knowledge, and you understand it maybe from that other student's perspective, and you are able to present it in such a way that you understand it from both sides or from both angles. Your exam has compulsory questions. All the questions are compulsory. You need to answer them all. Before you engage in answering your examination and future assignments as well, make sure you read the instructions carefully. Make sure you understand the verbs. Most questions that we have set start with verbs. Action verbs, they either ask you to explain, describe, elaborate, differentiate. You should be able to conceptualize these concepts in real life examples if you are asked to provide situations to match such concepts in this subject. Ask questions when you don't understand. Mr. Shanika has provided his email that he's most reachable on. He has also provided his contact number and the contact time where he's more accessible or more at liberty to help you. With that said, this is it's one of the best subjects that you could have taken for your teaching career. Apart from teaching, it also enhances your knowledge to understand what is going on around you, what is going on in your economy, and you are in a situation where such things start to interest you, and when something interests you, you're able to transfer it to a learner in such a way that they develop a sense of learning more on that subject as well. With that said, I would like to wish you all the best in all your assignments, your exam, and your future endeavors as a teacher who is going to equip and teach the nation on the economic subject.